Good morning, students. Let's begin our social science class in continuation of NCRT Democratic Politics chapter. Today's content: what is our system of election? So, in this topic, there were number of subtopic which I am going to explain. The whole election system, that from beginning till end, up to the voting and winning the election. All right. So let's begin. Indian election system process and procedure. These subtopic I am going to discuss in this video. How we can call Indian elections are democratic, general, by-election and midterm election, electoral constituencies, reserved constituencies, voters list, nomination of candidates, educational qualification of candidates, election campaign, polling and counting of votes. These all things come in election system of process and procedure of election system. How we can call Indian election are democratic? We can call the Indian election system democratic because there were number of things. First, universal adult franchise. All adult citizen, they are getting a right to vote, and each person they have one vote must carry one value. This is the first feature. Electoral choice, competition between political parties and between various candidates. One party system is opposed the spirit of democracy. So we have multi-party system right now in India. Elections at regular intervals. There are periodic elections in democracy. Free and fair election. In a democracy, voters are not subject to the pressure or fear. They can choose the candidate according to their own wish. So that is why we call Indian elections are democratic. Different type of election in India, or difference between general and by-term election or mid-term election. General election. The Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha state assembly elections are held regularly every 5 years. The Lok Sabha or Vidhan Sabha stands dissolved. Elections are held in all constituencies at the same time, either on the same day or within few days. For your kind information, first general elections was held in 1952. So if we talk about that elections are held in all constituencies at same time, either on the same day or within a few days, this is called a general election. So this is the definition. Then by election. The election is held only for one constituency to fill the vacancy caused by death or resignation of a member. This is called by election. Then midterm election. The Lok Sabha or state assembly may be dissolved before its term of 5 years is before. Midterm poll is required to constitute a new house. In fact, the expression midterm elections has no legal significance because elections to Lok Sabha is invariable called a general election. So these are the definition related to the topic. Question: how we can call Indian elections are democratic? 3 mark question. So only 3 point you will write, which is given in first slide. Then define general elections and by elections. So definition of these two, 1 mark. In India, we are following an area-based system of representation. For this purpose, country is divided into different areas for the purpose of election. These areas are called electoral constituencies. For Lok Sabha election, the country is divided into 543 constituencies. The representative elected from each constituency is called a member of parliament or MP. Electoral constituencies main feature in India, each constituency has roughly a smaller or similar size of the population, meaning the number of area varies from state to state, means the composition of the population almost same, but the number of area varies from one state to another state. Each state is divided into a specific number of assembly constituencies. The elected representative is called the member of legislative assembly or MLA. In the municipal and panchayat election, each village or town is divided into several wards like constituencies. Sometimes these constituencies are counted as seats. Each constituency represents one seat in the assembly. For example, Lok Dal won 60 seats in Haryana. It means that candidate of Lok Dal won in 60 assembly constituencies. What is the meaning of reserved constituencies? In India, some constituencies are reserved for people who belong to the scheduled caste SC and scheduled tribes ST. In a SC reserved constituencies, only someone who belongs to the scheduled caste can stand for election. Similarly, those who are belonging to scheduled tribes can stand for election. Scheduled caste reservations earlier 79 seats, but now according to new data 84 seats are reserved for scheduled caste. Scheduled tribe seats earlier 41 seats, now 47 seats. Why do we need reserved constituencies? Indian constitution ensures every citizen to elect its representative and to be elected as a representative. Second, Indian constitution makers made a special system of reserved constituencies for weaker section to get elected to the Lok Sabha and state legislative assembly because they have of lack of resources, education and contacts to contest and win election against other. This is the second point. So some constituencies are reserved for scheduled caste, SC and scheduled tribe. Third, so this is what, why do we need reserved constituencies? Answer. In many states, seats in rural panchayat and urban municipality and corporation, local bodies are now reserved for the backward classes as well, OBC. The proportion of seats reserved varies from one state to other state. Similarly, one third of the seats are reserved in rural and urban local bodies for women candidate. Like as the women candidate, one third seats are reserved for rural and urban local bodies. This is very good initiative. Question: define electoral constituency. 1 mark question. What is reserved constituency? This is also 1 mark question. Why do we need reserved constituencies? This is 3 mark question. All points given in previous slide. Meaning of voter list and its importance in democratic election. When we talk about voter list, it is also known as electoral roll. In democratic election, the list of people eligible to vote is prepared much before the election. This list is officially called the electoral roll and is commonly known as voter list. This is the important step and linked to be first condition of the democratic election. The electoral roll is normally revised every year to add the names of those who are to run 18 on the 1st January of that year or have moved in a constituency, and to remove the names of those who have died or moved out of the constituency. A complete revision of the list take place every 5 years. Now you can see by the picture also in India there is adult universal franchise UAF, you know, and then by law. UAF universal adult franchise means every individual above 18 years has a right to vote and choose their representatives. The list of the name given above, therefore all their names should appear in their respective electoral rolls or voter list. Electoral rolls are the list of voters in one constituencies. Now, universal adult franchise is also has an addition of the principle of one man, one vote, irrespective of status, power, money, caste, religion, etc. Means person wealth or the poorness will not subjected as a voter to him or her. EPIC. When we talk about EPIC, it means election photo identity card. Please remember, election photo identity card. This is a new system introduced by Election Commission. The government has tried to give this card to every person on the voter list. The voters are required to carry this card when they go out to vote so that no one can vote for someone else. But the card is not yet compulsory for voting. For voting, the voters can show many other proofs of identity like ration card or driving license also. So, EPIC means election photo identity card. Question related to the topic: define electoral roll or voter list, and what does universal adult franchise means. Next, a political party registered for elections and individuals file their nomination papers too. Then each person gets a ticket from the party they are representing from. He or she can now formally contest the election. So ticket basically given by the party to candidates. India allows every eligible person to stand for elections as long as they have a ticket. Nomination of candidate: in a democratic election, people should have a real choice, and there is no restrictions to anyone to contest in the election. Anyone who can be a voter can also become a candidate in election. The only difference is that in order to be a candidate, the minimum age is 25 years, while it is only 18 years for being a voter. Another one restriction: those who are criminals in extreme case cannot contest in the election. The political parties nominate their candidates who get the party symbols and support. Party's nomination is often called party ticket. Every candidate has to make a legal declaration giving full details of serious criminal case pending against the candidate, details of the assets and liabilities of the candidate and his or her family, education qualification of the candidate. Recently, Supreme Court declared a new direction for the candidate. Every candidate needs to give a legal declaration. This I already told you, that what a person declare: serious criminal cases pending against the candidate, details of the asset and liabilities of the candidate and his or her family, educational qualification of the candidate. This information has to be made public. This provides an opportunity to the voters to make their decision on the basis of the information provided by the candidate. Election or educational qualification of the candidate. Educational qualification are not relevant to all kinds of the job. Similarly, the relevant qualification for being an MP and MLA is the ability to understand people concerned problems and represent their interests. Whether they can do or not is examined by lakhs of examiner their voter every 5 years. Even if the education was relevant, it should be left to the people to decide how much importance they give to the educational qualification. In India, voting and electoral qualification would go against the spirit of democracy for yet another reason. It would mean depriving a majority of the country's citizens the right to contest election, as most of the people in rural area are not educated, so they are not able to participate in election. Need of election campaign: a democratic form of government means the people can campaign, means they are publicize their policy the way. In India, election campaign take place for a 2 week period between announcement of the final list of the candidate and the date of polling. During this period, the candidate contact their voters, public leader address election meeting, and political parties mobilize their supporters. The publicity is done through newspaper, television channel, election meeting poster, etc. Means they are going door to door, they put their banner, they means they try to aware people about their things through their activities. In election campaign, political parties try to focus public attention on some big issues for which usually catchy slogans are created to attract people attention. Let us look at the some of the slogan given by different political parties in different elections. Garibi hatao, remove poverty. The Congress party led by Indira Gandhi in the Lok Sabha election 1971. Save democracy. Janta party during Lok Sabha election in 1977 election. The party promised to restore civil liberties happened during the time of emergency. Land to the tiller. Left Front in West Bengal State Assembly election 1977. Protect the self-respect to the Telugus. N.T. Ramarao, the leader of Telugu Desam Party in AP State Assembly, Andhra Pradesh State Assembly election 1988. So these are the slogan which is used by the different political party during their campaign. Party and candidates can do means these things they cannot do. What? In democracy it is best to leave political parties and candidates free to conduct their election campaign uh, the way they want to do, but sometimes necessary to regulate campaigns to ensure that every political and candidate gets a fair and equal chance to compete. According to our election law, no party or candidate can't do what? Bribe or threaten voters. You cannot threaten the voters. Appeal to them in the name of caste and religion. Use government resources for election campaign. Spend more than 25 lakh in a constituency for Lok Sabha election, 10 lakh in the state. So these are the things which a candidate can't do during election. In addition, the election laws, all the political parties in our country have to agree to a model code of conduct. According to this, no party or candidate can't to do. What are the things? Use any place of worship for election propaganda, use government vehicles, aircrafts and officials for elections. Once elections are announced, ministers shall not lay foundation stone of any project, take any big policy decision, or make any promises of providing public facilities. So these are the code of conduct set by election commission to all political parties. Polling and counting of the day. Final. Voting day is when voters finally vote for their choice of the representative in election booth. So, polling day, the first of an election is a day when the voters can cast or poll their votes. This day is usually called the election day. Every person whose name is in the voter list can go to a nearby polling booth situated usually in a local school or a government office. Once the voter goes inside the booth, the election official identify her or him, put a mark on the finger, and allow him or her to cast his or her him vote. So this is the system. Earlier, people used to vote by ballot paper. Earlier, not now, and but nowadays they use EVM, electronic voting machines, by simply pressing a button on the party symbol. So this is the voting manner. On the date fixed earlier, the voting is held. For voting election, booths are set up. Voters go to the polling booths and vote the candidate of their choice. After the voting is over, the ballots are sealed and take it to the counting centers and under the official supervision, highly security job. There, the ballot boxes are opened before the candidates or their agents and votes are counted. The candidates having the highest number of wins, the highest vote wins the election. So this is what the today's lecture. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Number of question I will provide you in the form of PDF because I don't want to give much work in a particular day. Thank you. Have a good day.